You might think you've packed the perfect bug-out bag, the ultimate survival kit that will carry you safely through any emergency. But what if some of those items are actually sabotaging your chances of making it through a crisis? Most survival guides tell you to stock up on essentials: water, food, tools, first aid. But rarely do they warn you about the hidden threats hiding in your own pack. Some of the things you trust most could be dangerous, ineffective, or even life-threatening if you rely on them blindly. For example, the seemingly innocent can of beans, convenient and calorie-dense, might contain preservatives or metals that react under extreme heat or get contaminated once the seal is broken. You need to know what to carry, why, and under what conditions. And it's not just food. Even tools can fail catastrophically if you don't understand their limitations. A folding knife might snap under the wrong stress. A cheap multi-tool could leave you defenseless when you need it most. And let's talk about water filtration. That small, lightweight filter might look like your lifesaver, but in cold, murky, or algae-heavy water, it can clog instantly or fail to remove pathogens. That's why knowing the exact specifications and limits of your gear isn't optional. It's critical. Every ounce you carry has to justify itself in survival value, not just in comfort or convenience. And while you're checking your gear, ask yourself, are you carrying things that actually weigh you down instead of helping you move faster, stay safer, and survive longer? The wrong item could mean hours of unnecessary struggle or even infection, dehydration, or worse. Before you even think about hitting the trail in an emergency, you need to audit your bug-out bag like a surgeon inspecting a critical organ system. Every piece must be scrutinized. That's why in this video, I'm going to walk you through 11 specific items that could ruin your survival plan if you're not careful. Some are obvious once you know the facts. Others are the kind of hidden dangers most preppers never even consider. And if you really want to survive when the world turns dark, subscribe now and learn what others don't dare to teach. Because by the time disaster strikes, it's too late to discover that what you trusted most is actually what could betray you. Let's start with something many people pack without a second thought: canned foods. On the surface, they seem perfect, durable, long-lasting, and easy to carry. But not all cans are created equal. Aluminum cans can leach metals into acidic foods, especially under high temperatures, which is exactly what you might face if you have to heat your meals over a fire or portable stove. And don't forget the silent threat of botulism. If a can is even slightly dented or compromised, the bacteria can multiply rapidly, and one bite could make you seriously ill or worse. Then there's the issue of heavy, unnecessary weight. A dozen cans might only give you a few days' worth of calories, but they slow you down, increase fatigue, and drain your energy faster than you realize. Next, consider protein bars or ready-to-eat survival meals. Many are packed with preservatives, sugar, or artificial ingredients that can cause dehydration, digestive issues, or even hyperactivity at a time when calm, clear thinking is vital. Some bars can crumble easily, attract pests, or even turn rancid if not stored properly, leaving you with zero nutrition when it matters most. Another overlooked hazard is medications. People pack over-the-counter painkillers or supplements thinking they're a safety net, but expiration dates matter far more than most assume. Using expired drugs in an emergency can be ineffective or toxic. And here's a kicker: multivitamin packs can degrade faster than you expect, losing potency, or in some cases, forming harmful compounds in hot, humid conditions. Moving on to equipment, a common mistake is trusting inexpensive flashlights or batteries. A lightweight flashlight might fail after a few hours, and cheap batteries can leak acid, corroding contacts and destroying critical electronics. And if you rely on it for navigation or signaling, failure could mean getting stranded in dangerous conditions. Even something as simple as rope or cordage can be a hidden hazard. Low-quality paracord or cheap synthetic rope may look strong but can snap under load, leaving you stranded while climbing, securing a shelter, or carrying supplies. Every item you pack must survive stress, weather, and repeated use. Your survival depends not on the number of items, but on their reliability under pressure. You need to know what's truly essential and what's a liability masquerading as preparedness. Another area where survival plans often fail is in hydration. Bottled water seems obvious, but there are hidden traps here too. Plastic bottles can crack, leak, or even leach chemicals into your water if exposed to heat, sunlight, or physical stress. Collapsible water bladders can develop micro tears you don't notice until it's too late. Even the filters we rely on so heavily have limits. Ceramic or activated carbon filters might remove sediment, but they can't always eliminate viruses, and if they freeze, they crack and become useless. Relying on contaminated water for even a single day can trigger severe illness, dehydration, and quickly drain your body's reserves. And don't forget about fire-starting gear. A cheap lighter or a pack of wet match kits seems convenient, but in real survival conditions they often fail. Wind, rain, or freezing temperatures can render them useless in minutes. Without fire, you lose the ability to purify water, cook food, signal for help, and stay warm at night, which can rapidly turn a manageable situation into a life-threatening one. Now consider navigation tools. People overestimate their GPS devices, smartphones, or digital compasses. Batteries die, screens shatter, signals disappear, and suddenly all your guidance is gone. Traditional compasses and detailed paper maps are far more reliable, but only if you know how to use them. Then there's clothing and shelter materials. Lightweight, ultra-compact tents and ponchos might look impressive in photos, but under heavy rain, snow, or extreme wind, they fail. A tent with a broken pole or ripped seam isn't just inconvenient, it can be deadly. Similarly, clothing with poor insulation or moisture-wicking failure can lead to hypothermia, even in temperatures you might consider mild. Every survival scenario stresses your body, mind, and gear in unexpected ways. The items you carry must be tested and proven, not just convenient or cheap. And while most people focus on survival gadgets, the real threats often come from what you assume is safe. Even small, seemingly harmless things like snacks, personal hygiene items, or small tools can create risks if they break, spoil, or fail at the wrong moment. This is why preparation isn't just about having a bag full of supplies. It's about understanding every single piece, its limits, and how it interacts with your environment. The question isn't what you want to carry, it's what will carry you when everything goes wrong. And here's the point most preppers miss. Survival is not about abundance. It's about reliability, knowledge, and timing. One misstep, one flawed item, and your entire plan can unravel. But even when you've assessed your essentials, some hidden hazards remain, some so subtle you won't notice until it's too late. Let's dive into some of the more unexpected dangers lurking in your bug-out bag. One of the biggest mistakes people make is overloading on tools they think are multi-purpose, but in reality, their performance is mediocre at best. Cheap multi-tools, for example, might include dozens of functions, but each function is compromised by poor design and low-quality metal. A folding saw that bends under pressure, or pliers that slip when you need them most, aren't just frustrating, they can be dangerous. You might trust that tool to cut rope, pry open containers, or defend yourself, and when it fails, it leaves you exposed. Another silent killer is improper food storage. Even freeze-dried meals, often considered foolproof, can spoil if exposed to moisture, heat, or punctured packaging. And many survivalists underestimate the risk of cross-contamination in a cramped bug-out scenario. One bad batch of food, improperly sealed, and your body could be fighting bacteria instead of focusing on energy and alertness. Medical kits are another area loaded with potential pitfalls. Everyone packs bandages, antiseptics, and painkillers. But do you really know how to use them effectively under stress? Expired ointments, crushed pills, or incorrect dosages can worsen injuries rather than help them. Plus, some kits include items that are simply unnecessary for a short-term survival scenario, adding weight without benefit. Hygiene items, which are often overlooked, also carry hidden risks. Improperly packed soap, wipes, or sanitation products can spoil, leak, or even attract insects. A small failure in sanitation can quickly escalate into infections, disease, and serious health problems. And let's talk about firewood alternatives or fuel sources. Many people pack compressed fuel tablets, but if they're old, wet, or improperly stored, they might fail when you need them most. Without reliable fuel, you lose heat, the ability to cook, and even morale, which in a high-stress survival situation is critical. Every item you pack must be vetted not only for immediate utility, but also for durability, reliability, and adaptability. Survival isn't just about having stuff. It's about having the right stuff that will perform under extreme stress when every second counts. And even if you think you've covered all bases, there are still hidden threats in the simplest, most overlooked supplies. Things so mundane that most preppers never even consider the risk. But the next items we'll cover, they're the kind of traps that could quietly destroy your entire bug-out plan without warning. Now we reach the items that are deceptively dangerous. Those you'd never suspect could ruin your survival plan. Take fire extinguishers, for example. Most preppers include a small one thinking it's a catch-all for any emergency, but in reality they're heavy, bulky, and often only work for a short time. Misjudging their effectiveness can give you a false sense of security while the real threat continues to spread. Even more subtle are gadgets like portable stoves or camp ovens. Lightweight, compact models might seem ideal, but if they're not properly maintained, they fail exactly when you need to cook or boil water. Some stoves don't perform well in wind or cold, leaving you exposed to hypothermia, malnutrition, or dehydration. Electronics like walkie-talkies, solar chargers, or small radios carry hidden risks too. Cheap devices might die after a single day or fail to transmit crucial information in a critical situation. Batteries can leak, solar panels can break, and suddenly you've lost not just convenience but essential survival communication. Another overlooked hazard is overpacking miscellaneous items, gadgets, trinkets, or just-in-case gear. Every extra ounce slows you down, saps energy, and increases fatigue. In a survival scenario, mobility is as important as your supplies. You can't afford to be weighed down by items that don't actively increase your chances of staying alive. Even personal items like jewelry, sentimental trinkets, or unnecessary electronics can become dangerous if they distract, hinder, or make noise in sensitive situations. The key principle here is ruthless efficiency. Every item must justify its weight, its space, and its risk. And this is where many plans fail. People focus on having things rather than having the right things. There's a reason professional survivalists audit their packs constantly, replacing, testing, and refining gear based on real-world performance, not marketing claims. Finally, consider small items like matches, lighters, or backup tools that seem redundant. Redundancy is valuable, yes, but only if the duplicates are reliable. Carrying expired matches or low-quality lighters adds weight and gives a false sense of security, while doing nothing when you need fire the most. Understanding these subtle failures is critical because, in an emergency, every mistake is magnified. The items you trust to save you can become silent saboteurs, leaving you exposed when there's no second chance. And the last of the 11 items? It's one that almost every prepper overlooks, yet it can be the single factor that turns a survivable situation into a disaster. Now let's talk about one of the most underestimated threats in your bug-out bag: water purification tablets. On the surface, they seem foolproof, lightweight, compact, and easy to use, but they carry hidden dangers that could make you sick instead of keeping you alive. Many people assume a single tablet will handle any water source, but that's far from true. High levels of sediment, algae, or chemical contamination can render these tablets ineffective, leaving you vulnerable to severe gastrointestinal illness at exactly the wrong moment. And the tablets themselves have shelf lives. Older packs can lose potency or even produce harmful byproducts, especially if exposed to heat or humidity. Relying on them blindly can turn what should be a simple hydration solution into a serious medical problem. Alongside that, consider cheap or untested water bottles and hydration systems. Cracks, leaks, and chemical leaching are common in lower quality gear, and one small failure can mean losing your entire water supply in the middle of a crisis. When every drop counts, even a small misjudgment can snowball into dehydration and weakness faster than you anticipate. Survival is as much about preventing hidden dangers as it is about having the right tools in the first place. Every choice you make has consequences, and the most experienced preppers understand that a single overlooked detail, like a failing purification system, can unravel even the most carefully planned escape. These are the kinds of lessons most survival guides gloss over, but in reality, they can make or break your bug-out strategy. Another silent killer hiding in your bug-out bag is your choice of emergency lighting. Most people pack small battery-powered flashlights or headlamps, assuming they'll last through the worst nights. But cheap LEDs and low-quality batteries often fail unexpectedly, leaving you in total darkness at critical moments. Darkness isn't just inconvenient. It can disorient you, slow your progress, and expose you to hazards you can't see. Even worse, some lights generate heat or draw attention, which can be dangerous if you're trying to remain discreet. Solar-powered or rechargeable options sound perfect, but they have their own traps. Cloudy days, damaged panels, or dead batteries can render them useless exactly when you need light most. Then there are emergency signaling devices like whistles or mirrors. Many of these items are included without thought, yet they can break, get lost, or be ineffective if you don't know proper usage. A whistle that cracks or a signal mirror that scratches in transit can cost precious time or prevent rescuers from finding you. Even small navigation aids, like compasses and maps, require constant attention and practice. An untrained hand with a compass can easily get lost in a survival scenario. And finally, consider the hidden risk of redundancy itself. Packing multiples of everything might seem safe, but it increases weight and clutter, creating confusion and fatigue. Every ounce matters, and excess can slow you down just when you need speed and clarity. The lesson here is clear. Survival gear isn't just about having items. It's about understanding their limitations, practicing with them, and ensuring they perform exactly as expected under real-world conditions. One misjudged piece of gear can trigger a chain reaction of failures, turning a manageable situation into a full-blown crisis. And the last item on our list? It's the one that sneaks under the radar for almost every prepper, yet it has the power to unravel even the most meticulously planned bug-out bag. Now, let's uncover one of the most overlooked yet potentially catastrophic items in your bug-out bag. The very tools meant to keep you organized and safe. Your storage containers, bags, and pouches. Most preppers don't give them a second thought, assuming that any durable-looking bag will do. But under stress, extreme weather, or constant movement, cheap or poorly designed packs can tear, unzip unexpectedly, or allow water and dirt to compromise the contents. A single ripped pouch can spill critical supplies like medications, matches, or first aid items, leaving you scrambling in a high-risk environment. Even compartments designed to separate items can fail, causing contamination between clean and dirty gear, food, or medical supplies. And let's not forget the weight distribution factor. A poorly packed bag throws off your balance, increases fatigue, and can make climbing, running, or even walking long distances dangerous. Mismanaged weight might seem trivial in a calm environment, but in a survival situation, it can turn into injury or exhaustion in minutes. Then there's the psychological side. Opening a bag that's a tangled mess in the middle of an emergency can cause panic, waste precious time, and force you to make rushed, poor decisions. Every element of your bag, from the zippers and stitching to the internal compartments and closures, needs to be tested and trusted. Because when it fails, it doesn't just cost convenience. It threatens your survival. And while these failures might seem small compared to natural hazards, in reality, a single overlooked item can cascade into multiple crises. The key takeaway is simple yet crucial. Your bug-out bag isn't just a collection of supplies. It's a carefully balanced system where every piece must perform reliably, under pressure, and without fail. Overlooked weaknesses in organization, packaging, or durability can undo months of careful preparation. And with that in mind, the very last item on our list is one that almost every prepper ignores, yet understanding its hidden risks could make the difference between life and death. Finally, let's reveal the last item, the one that sneaks under the radar for almost every prepper, but can destroy your entire bug-out plan: your reliance on untested assumptions about survival. It sounds abstract, but it's real. Many people trust gear, supplies, or strategies simply because they read about them online or followed someone else's checklist. Yet when disaster hits, untested assumptions can be fatal. A water filter that should work in any condition might fail in murky, cold, or algae-rich water. A compact stove that is reliable may sputter in wind or heavy rain. Even skills you assume are intuitive, like starting a fire, purifying water, or navigating, can fall apart under stress if you haven't practiced them in realistic scenarios. This invisible item, the overconfidence in your preparation, is often more dangerous than any physical tool you carry. Every other item we discussed matters, but your mindset and tested knowledge can turn failure into survival. That's why real preparedness isn't just about what's in your bag. It's about how you understand and use every single piece of gear. Practicing, testing, and learning from real-world scenarios separates those who survive from those who don't. And if you want to go deeper, you'll find in the description some guides and documents that can take your preparedness to the next level. Check them out when you're ready. Don't just watch, take action. Audit your bug-out bag, eliminate hidden hazards, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it before it's too late. Like, comment, and subscribe to stay informed. Because the knowledge you gain now could be the difference between life and death in the future. Remember, survival isn't about carrying more. It's about carrying what works, knowing its limits, and being ready when everything else fails. And above all, never underestimate the smallest failure. In a true survival scenario, even one hidden risk can become the difference between life and death.